So it is time to introduce you all to a new animal of mine, and this is an animal that I am incredibly excited to share with you all. So a little while ago I posted a video that was just titled Meet All of My New Pets, and if you were someone who watched that video and you watched all the way till the end, you would know that there was a little bit of a sneak peek of one other kind of bonus animal. So I'm sure some of you have an idea of what this animal is already, and for those of you who don't, let's go and take a look. So this is the animal right here that I wanted to introduce to all of you guys, and this is Sadie, who is my Malaysian cat gecko. Now people do have different names for these. Some people call them Malaysian cat eye geckos, some people call them cat tail geckos. I just go with cat geckos because why not? But now just hold on one second. I don't want Sadie to take the entire spotlight here. Now the reason why I don't want Sadie to take the entire spotlight is because what about Slinky? So you guys already got a sneak peek at Sadie, my cat gecko. However, Slinky has not made any sort of appearance on my channel at all. So not only am I introducing you guys to Sadie today, but I am also introducing you to Slinky, who is my male cat gecko. And I am so excited to be standing here with these guys, able to talk to you guys about them because these are just an incredible animal. So now that you guys have taken a brief look at Sadie and Slinky here, I'm gonna go ahead and put them back in their enclosures. Cat geckos aren't typically an animal that you want to keep out and handle a lot. They do stress fairly easily, even if they don't really show it. So I'm gonna go ahead and place them back now. So now that you guys have met Sadie and Slinky, let's talk about how I ended up with them. Cat geckos are a species of gecko that I've been interested in since about 2018 now. So back in 2018, I was pet sitting for a friend, watching all of his reptiles for him while he was away on vacation. He's a way bigger reptile person than I am. He's kept hundreds of animals. He also was the person who got me interested in Parsons chameleons, but his cat geckos that I cared for are really what got me interested in cat geckos back in 2018. So ever since then, I've been learning about them and interested in them. However, I never really ended up with any cat geckos myself, up until now obviously. The main reason for that is cat geckos are quite hard to find. Typically when you do find them, they are wild caught. There aren't very many people captive breeding them. There are some, so I don't want to say there's none. However, more often than not, they are wild caught animals. And even if they are wild caught, like I said, they're just not super easy to come by, especially here in Canada. So I didn't get Sadie and Slinky together. I actually got them separate on separate days. So let's go ahead and talk about Sadie first because she was the first one who I got. So when it comes to Sadie, she was basically a rehome situation. It wasn't any sort of like rescue or anything like that. Like Sadie is totally healthy. The person who kept her prior to me was a big reptile person and, you know, just no longer wanted this cat gecko anymore. So I went and picked her up. Can you tell that I just woke up and this is not a video that I planned on filming right now, but here we are. Basically, I am on my way to pick up a new animal from Kijiji. So let's talk about how that happened. So Kijiji is basically just a buy and sell website, kind of like a Canadian version of Craigslist. Anyways, I fairly frequently look at the animal section in Kijiji, whether I'm just seeing the animals that are there or looking for supplies like exoterras or whatever. Yeah, and I came across a animal that I would really like to get, and I am on my way to get them now. So that's what's going on. Let's go and pick up this animal. So I just picked her up and she's so cute. I'm so excited to get her home and get her in a setup. She will be going into a quarantine setup for now, but I'm really excited to be able to create like a nice naturalistic or bioactive enclosure for her. So yeah, there she is right now. So after I went and picked Sadie up, I then came home and I got her set up in her quarantine enclosure. very first got Sadie, she was kept upstairs in the guest room of my house. That is where my boyfriend and I quarantine all of our new animals before they come down to the reptile room. So she was kept up there for about a month where I could monitor her and make sure she was doing well and didn't have any health problems, which she didn't, so she is now down in the reptile room. So let's talk about Slinky now, because Slinky has a little bit of a different story. So Slinky I actually bought from a local pet store in Ottawa here called Critter Jungle. Now, you know, I feel like when I say I bought a reptile from a pet store, that immediately has some sort of negative connotation because, you know, you think of like chain pet stores like PetSmart and how you shouldn't buy reptiles there, which is true. However, this reptile store that I go to here in Ottawa, Critter Jungle, is not like that. You know, they are a local store, they are just here in Ottawa, and their reptile section of the store is incredible. All of their animals are kept in bioactive enclosures and everything. For example, even when I bought Slinky, I had the option to buy just him or buy him and his fully set up bioactive enclosure that he was living in at the store. They give you that option to buy the animal along with this enclosure that they made for it at the store, which is really awesome. Since I, you know, have a lot of enclosures and supplies and stuff, I didn't feel the need to buy his enclosure, but like it was a nice enclosure, so I just got him. So yeah, I did get Slinky from a pet store, but I don't want anyone to think that it was like a terrible chain pet store that gets all of their animals from Mills or anything. Slinky came from a very good place. And Slinky actually lived at that pet store for 2.5 years before I got him, which is crazy to me. Slinky has been there for such a long time, and his name was actually Slinky in the store. I just decided to keep that, so yeah, just throwing that out there. But yeah, he was there for a super long time, and now he is here in my home, so that is really, really cool. Alright, so I went and I took my geckos bins off of the shelf right now so that you guys can have a closer look at them. So these are the bins that my cat geckos are currently living in. So these used to be set up as more like simplistic quarantine style bins, you know, like you saw me set up earlier. But now that the geckos are out of quarantine, you know, I've been able to monitor them and I know they're doing well. I've set the bins up, you know, a little bit more exciting and enriching. So let's go and take a look at them. So these bins right now do a pretty good job at providing the geckos with what they need. They have a decent amount of height and floor space, so these geckos have room to, you know, explore around on the ground as well as lots of different climbing opportunities. And the bins also do a really good job at keeping humidity in. My basement has been a little bit dry this winter, you know, since the heating has turned on in the house, so these bins do a good job at keeping the geckos and their enclosures nice and humid. So this one right here is Slinky's bin. So like I said before, Slinky is my male cat gecko. So cat geckos are pretty shy animals, and you know, they do like to climb. So cat geckos spend a decent amount of time exploring both around the ground and up in the branches and stuff. So on the ground here, I do have like this hide right here, and then there is a lot of different pieces of cork. So these cork pieces, you know, can act as both a hiding spot and just things to climb on and explore around. So if you look at the enclosure, it's a little bit more like full in this corner here and then a little bit more open over here. So this kind of allows him to choose, you know, how exposed he wants to feel. If he wants to come out in the open a little bit more, he can come over here, but if he wants to feel nice and secure, he can head on over here. And so there's lots of different branches. These guys do climb a lot, so lots of different levels for him to explore around in here. And then over here we have Sadie's enclosure. So, you know, obviously they do look a bit different, but they are pretty similar setups. So we have another hide on the ground over there. There is lots of cork throughout. This is like one big cork piece right there, and it is a cork hollow, so she can hide like inside of that as well as under it and climb over it, you know. There's another cork tube right here, and then there's just like another cork flat in the back. Lots more branches and stuff here as well. And again, it's a little bit more like open on this side than it is on this side. So if she's hanging out over here, she's probably gonna feel a little bit more secure than if she's like out in the open over here. But it does give her the option, you know, having it set up like this. So yeah, this here is Sadie's enclosure, and this one right here is Slinky's enclosure. So Malaysian cat geckos are extremely interesting geckos. geckos, and in my opinion they're just like one of the coolest, most unique gecko species that I keep. The thing that fascinates me the most about them is honestly just the way that they move. So these cat geckos are an arboreal slash semi-arboreal species. Certain things you read say that they're fully arboreal, other things say semi-arboreal. In my opinion, I feel like semi-arboreal is more appropriate just because they do spend some time on the ground, you know. A lot of times mine are like curled up inside of their hides sleeping. So if you ask me, semi-arboreal seems more appropriate, but either way, they spend a lot of time climbing. Now these guys are nocturnal, so you don't really see them climbing during the day or anything, but at nighttime they're very active climbing around, and they're just, it's so cool watching how they like grip onto things and how well they just like, I don't know, just how well they move is really, really cool. It's super fascinating. These geckos actually have retractable claws, which is super, super cool. I can't really think of any other reptile. I don't even know if there are other reptiles that have retractable claws, but you know, like think of cats, like how cats can like retract their claws. It's just like super cool. Like these guys are just some of the coolest geckos ever, if you ask me. So Malaysian cat geckos are a species of gecko that really loves humidity, and they don't really like warm temperatures. They do a lot better when they're kept a little bit cooler. Mine, I just keep them at room temperature. My reptile room down here is typically mid to high 70s, which works absolutely perfectly for them. I wouldn't want to keep them below 70, and I wouldn't really want to keep them above 80. So having a room that sits, you know, mid-high 70s works perfect for them. This video is not meant to be any sort of care video or anything. I really did just want to introduce you guys to my new cat geckos because they are extremely cool and extremely fascinating. So, you know, I'm not going to be giving a whole lot of information on their care here, just a few little facts so that you guys have an idea of what they're like. But yeah, this is just meant to be an introduction for them, and you guys have been introduced to them, so I'm just gonna go ahead and end the video here. Thank you all so much for watching. I do really, really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also give this video a big thumbs up. Also, be sure to check out all of my other social media. I do want to give a special shout out to my TikTok. I have been posting on there more recently, so be sure to follow me there. It is just EmmaSam99 like the rest of my social media, but it'll all be down in the description below, so be sure to check that out. With all that said, I am just going to end the video here. Thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, I do hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in my next video.